Hello everybody, it is Carissa and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you my CrossFit workout, full in depth, why I do certain things, and how many times a week I actually do this. So if you missed the first episode in this series, then you can go ahead and click here and go view that now. That video kind of explains how I was able to make such a big transformation in only 4 weeks, as well as explaining to you guys what my split is as far as my training goes. So if you didn't see that, I would highly recommend viewing that video before you watch this one. So, and don't forget before we start this video to give it a thumbs up and then subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. I'm trying to expand my channel and do more than just my weekly vlogs. I love them so much, but I do want to kind of give you guys my insight and really be able to teach you guys what I've learned. Mind you, I'm sure that there are people out there that know even more than I do, but I've been trying really hard to do a lot of research, read every single day about exercise and the science behind it, and I think that I'm doing pretty good. Starting off with this workout, something I would like to explain. As I explained in the last video, my training style is definitely more functional now, and I think that's what really kind of transformed my body, is by doing these functional movement patterns and really working on just doing better with my overall health rather than thinking, hey, I want to be fit to look good. I now think, hey, I want to be fit to live a healthy lifestyle. So a lot of it does have to do with your mental aspect as well, which again, I did go over in the last video. As explained in the last video as well, I do 3 days a week of CrossFit based workouts. So just to give you a little background of what CrossFit is, it's basically varied functional movements that are performed at a high intensity rate. So doing functional movements, but at very, very high intensity. It's a lot of circuits, it's a lot of strength training and endurance kind of mixed into one. I am just starting to get into CrossFit and I have absolutely loved it. It has changed my life. I think that when it comes to CrossFit, a lot of people just automatically assume that you're going to be, you know, a CrossFit Games athlete and you have to work to the capacity and do things like cleans and deadlifts and all of these different movements that you're not necessarily used to, but that's not the case. With CrossFit, there are a bunch of different levels and you don't have to be at an athlete level. I'm not even sure that I want to be at an athlete level with CrossFit in the future. I just know that I love CrossFit and I love incorporating CrossFit based workouts into my fitness plan. So that's kind of what we're going to be working on today. There are many different benefits of doing CrossFit workouts. So that's something that I really wanted to explain to you guys, is I don't want you to think, you know, oh, this is just a CrossFit video where I'm going to be doing all of these crazy things. No, like, one, I'm not on that level yet, and two, there are different levels of CrossFit that you can just stick with. You don't have to keep escalating and going harder and harder. That's not what I mean at all, which you'll kind of understand as we go through the workout. You may have not even thought that this was considered a CrossFit workout, but a lot of my workouts are definitely CrossFit based because there's a lot of functional movements in them, and this is definitely the key to what I think kind of sprung my fat loss journey in the last 4 weeks. There are many benefits of doing CrossFit workouts, things like improving your physical conditioning. It's also going to help with burning fat. So I'll explain exactly what I mean about that later in the video, scientifically how that happens. It's great for your heart health, and if you know me, then you know I do have a heart murmur. It is very small, but it has not gone away ever since I was born. The way that my doctor explained it to me is the less hard my heart has to work, the better for my heart murmur. So doing things like being physically active and trying to stay in shape is actually going to help me when it comes to controlling my heart murmur and just monitoring it. It's really good for joint mobility, which is something that I've really been focusing on. CrossFit is actually known as well to surpass plateaus. Now, when I first saw this, that's when I told myself, okay, well, I have to give it a try. You know, if I don't like it, then I just won't do it. And I loved it. So I will definitely say that I think the CrossFit workouts have definitely had a really big impact on me losing the fat in the last month. I think that now that I've gotten over that month hump of doing something consistently, now I'm gonna start seeing even more progress faster. So getting right into the warm-up, I always stretch before and after my workouts. It is something that is just vital to me because of how intense I work out and how many days I work out. It's very, very important important that I'm doing the proper stretching and the proper mobility, that I'm doing the proper stretching and I'm doing a proper warm-up so that my body can actually have the time to recover. And also when you warm up, it's gonna help your overall movement. You're gonna be so much better at doing your workouts. Movements are gonna come easier to you. You're gonna have better range of motion. Stretch out your muscles, guys. I don't understand why people don't do that. It actually makes me really mad because I don't understand how you can go into a workout without warming up. Something that I do before all of my workouts, which I actually didn't film, but I always foam roll. I foam roll before and after my workout, and then I usually about 3-4 times a week will have like a foam rolling session where I sit in front of my TV while I'm watching something with Justin, and we'll just sit there and foam roll. Foam rolling literally will change your life. I remember specifically when I did the first CrossFit workout that I ever did, and I woke up the next day feeling like I was going to die. Like, I literally was like, I can never do this again. Absolutely not. I could not move. I couldn't even go to school. Like, it was bad. So then that night I was like, okay, well, let me just foam roll and see how things work out, see how I wake up the next day. I spent about 20 minutes foam rolling my entire body. It hurt like a bitch, but let me tell you, the next day I woke up and felt like I hadn't even worked out the day before. I look back on that moment every single day, and that's what pushes me to do that foam roller every day, because I know that if I want to see the results, I have to put in the work, and part of that work is stretching and taking the time to take care of your body. I highly recommend a foam roller. They are very inexpensive. The one that I use is actually from Peach Bands. I do have an affiliate link with them, so if you would like to use it, it's really cute, it's pink, and you can go ahead and do that. It works perfect. I take it to the gym every day, matches my gym bag. I mean, it doesn't get any much better. Foam rollers are going to help relieve that muscle tightness that you have, soreness, inflammation. It's going to increase your joint range of motion. Again, I do that before and after a workout, just so that I'm not waking up the next day wanting to die. So then I like to get straight into my dynamic stretching. I love this type of stretching. I think that it really helps me throughout my workout. What dynamic stretching is, it's active movements where joints and muscles go through a full range of motion. You can see here when I'm doing my dynamic stretches, I'm kind of flowing into the movement. Dynamic stretching can be functional, and it mimics the movement of activity of the sport or the workout that you're about to perform. So you can see all of these different movements are actually going to help me for when I start my workout, just getting everything pumped up, you know what I mean? Something you guys may have remembered is back in September, I had a grade 3 sprain on my ankle. I had torn ligaments, nerve damage, a bunch of stuff that it took forever to heal, and honestly, it's never the same. I mean, that's what happens. It's never going to be the same, but on the daily, I really emphasize working on my injury. If you have injuries, I think it's important that when you're doing your stretches to really work on that injury mobility. So for me, it's my ankle, so I like to incorporate ankle mobility stretches. You can see that I'm doing these little yogi squat, these little like squat up things. What are they called? Oh my god. I really work on working with that ankle so that I can just loosen everything up and work on that ankle mobility. So ankle mobility is flexibility of an ankle joint and its surrounding muscles and tendons. So everything is connected, and it's really important that if you do have an injury to pay special attention to that, because you don't want to make the injury worse. Okay, so now that we have the stretching done, we can go right into our warm-ups. I like to focus my warm-ups on a little bit more of a stretching routine depending on what workout I'm doing, but also incorporating certain movements to get my heart rate up. So let's get started with that warm-up. So I'm doing 2 rounds, 30 seconds for each exercise, and then at the end of the first round I'm going to take a 30-second break and then go right back into doing a second round. And going into 30 seconds of air squats, you will see that throughout this series that I do a lot of air squats, just body weight squats, air squats, people call them different things. One, I love this movement for a few different reasons. One, it gets my heart rate up. After you do about, I'd say 15 of them in a row, you really start to feel the burn and you start to kind of pant a little bit. But it also is going to increase your hip strength. It's going to again, working with that ankle mobility, and then it's also going to improve your core strength, which I think is definitely somewhere that I have definitely improved on the most out of every part of my body. You can definitely see the definition in my so-called abs. Going into bird dogs, this is a really fun movement. It's going to help you with coordination and muscle balance. It's going to help strengthen those abdominal muscles. It's going to help to align and develop the stability muscles of the back. So this is a really big thing. If you tend to have back pain, you really want to do some stretches and do some warm-ups that are really going to help with that lower back pain. Moving into slow pike push-ups. So pike push-ups are so much harder than they look. I'm gonna put that out there, because the first time I ever did a pike push-up, I told myself this will be so much easier than a regular push-up. Pike push-ups are going to help build your shoulder strength. Another thing I really like about this movement is that they're good for all levels. The closer in your legs are, the harder the movement's going to be. So if you're a beginner, you can be spread out a little bit more to try to crank out those reps. But as you start to advance, you just move closer and closer to your body. So it's something that I was able to really see myself progress on. It's really awesome because I'm able to start the movement, but also increase the intensity of that movement as I'm getting better and better at my workouts. All right, and moving into the sit-ups. This is something that, again, you will see me incorporate a lot, and that is just because it's something that I've wanted to improve on. I think it's a killer workout. I see myself improving in them very fast, which is very, very good because it helps motivate me to keep going to the gym. I do things like push-ups and things like sit-ups, just movements that I can track how I improve on them, especially when they're body weight exercises, because it's like, when you know that you're improving on a body weight exercise, you know that you're actually like really improving, because the fact that it's getting easier for you, it motivates me to keep going. So now that we have finished our warm-up, we're gonna go right into my first strength exercise. What I like to do personally, and this is just personal preference, so this is the part where if you were more of like an intermediate or advanced CrossFitter, you would incorporate some Olympic lifting. Now the issue is that I'm very, very new on Olympic lifting. There are a lot of things like cleans and different movements that I'm just learning still. So I like to only do that once a week as of right now, as I explained in the last video, until I start to really get the skills down, because I don't want to perform those Olympic weightlifting exercises without me actually being able to do them with the proper form and ensuring that I don't hurt myself. If you're not comfortable with doing Olympic weightlifting, take that aspect out and switch it out for different strength training exercises. So that's what I've been doing for the last month while I'm learning the skills. Eventually I do want to do some of the Olympic weightlifting. However, this month I would say I definitely didn't do a lot of that, because again, I'm still a beginner when it comes to the Olympic weightlifting for sure. So what we're doing for my first strength training exercise is we're doing floor presses. I love floor presses. When I first started doing floor presses at the beginning of the month, I was doing a total of 20 pounds, 2 10-pound dumbbells, and they were difficult. I am so excited to say that I have improved on these tremendously, and I am now doing 50 pounds, so 25 each, which is really, really impressive for only doing it for 4 weeks. Not to mention, I wasn't doing this exercise every single day. I may have done it a total of like 4 or 5 times, and I was able to progress so quickly. Floor press versus a bench press. So I'm going to tell you why I do floor presses instead of bench presses. It's definitely personally like more. I like floor presses more than I like bench presses, but you can make your bench press stronger by starting with floor presses. So you most likely can do more weight when you're doing something like a bench press, because with a bench press, you drive through the floor with your feet and you gain power from your glutes to help you push that weight out. When you're doing a floor press, it forces you to just use your chest, your triceps, and your shoulders. It helps me feel really strong, and I rarely work out my chest in general other than my push-ups, so it's just something that I really like to incorporate, and it helps me feel strong. And you know, if you're doing something that you love and it feels good to you, then you shouldn't have to justify it. So if someone's telling you that you shouldn't do something because this, that, and the other, honestly, those people you don't need in your life, because if you are doing something efficiently and you're doing it because you love it, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about it. If you're moving your body, it's better than sitting there and doing nothing. So I do 4 sets of 9 with these. So 9 reps, take about a minute break, and then repeat that 4 times. So moving into circuit 1, this was freaking killer. This only includes 2 different exercises. You're going to be doing 15 overhead kettlebell swings and 8 burpees. Holy crap. If you can't do full burpees, which I personally think that sometimes the modified version of burpees are a little bit harder than just doing full out burpees. I don't know. Is that just me? Probably. But if you can't do regular burpees, then you could of course modify that. They have many different ways to do half burpees. Something I like to do with my workouts is I made them so that I can modify them so that throughout the weeks that I'm doing the same workouts, I can see myself improve and not have to modify them as much. So personally, I can do, when I first started doing the program, I could not do full burpees. Now I can do full burpees. They just suck. This is really going to help with getting your heart rate up, and it's really going to work on that endurance. This is so freaking hard. So how I want you to do this is I want you to start with the burpees and then go into the overhead kettlebell swings. The reason being is because the burpees are so exhausting that by the time you get to the overhead kettlebell swings, it's really difficult. The reason I want you to do this is because when you start with the burpees, you're so exhausted going in to the overhead kettlebell swings. Versus if you were to do the burpees last, you're kind of getting the easy movement out of the way first, and it's just, listen, you're gonna cheat yourself if you do the overhead kettlebell swings first. I want you to do them second because you want to exhaust yourself so that you're really pushing through those kettlebell swings rather than just kind of flowing through it and then doing the burpees as a hard exercise. Remember that you're going to get a 30-second break. So for this circuit, you're going to complete both of the exercises and then you take about a 30-second break. I don't go any longer than 30 seconds just because I want to keep my heart rate up the entire time. After 5 rounds, you're going to take a good 3 to 5 minute break because you are going to be exhausted. On to my second strength training exercise. I like to incorporate 2 in my CrossFit days. Again, this is where you would add in some Olympic weightlifting if you are more of an advanced CrossFitter. But we are going to do suitcase deadlifts. This is something that I started incorporating a few months ago, and it has easily become one of my favorite movements because I feel like you gain better stability when you're doing suitcase deadlifts versus just regular like RDLs or something like that. And honestly, this in itself is just a full body exercise. I highly recommend trying out these suitcase deadlifts if you haven't before. They've absolutely changed my life. Like, when I'm thinking about it, I can't remember the last time that I chose regular deadlifts over suitcase deadlifts. I don't know what it is. It's like a mixture of a squat and a deadlift, and it's so much easier and it flows so much nicer. It just feels so much better on my body. It's going to teach you grip strength. It's going to work your obliques. It's going to work your abs, your deltoids, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quadriceps. It's amazing. If you haven't tried them, I highly recommend. So we are doing, again, 4 sets of 9, taking a short break after my first set. The last and final circuit, it's going to be hard to get through this one, but you absolutely can do it. When I was through the 3rd round and I only had 1 more round left, I started to get scared because I was like, am I going to be able to finish this? But a lot of the time it's your mind that's holding you back, and I've talked about that a lot of the time. So going right into this last circuit, you are completing 4 rounds. Again, after every round, you're going to take a break. So for this one, it is definitely a little bit more hardcore. So I want you to take about a 1 to 2 minute break after each round. So we're starting with 30 air squats. I know it sounds easy until you do it. It burns, and again, I just love incorporating air squats into my CrossFit workouts. After that, we're going to go into 30 push-ups. You can see So I can do regular push-ups, however, I can't do 30 at a time. So I decided to modify this. Also because this is more towards the end of the workout, I'm already feeling a little bit fatigued, so I'm not as strong as I am when I started the workout. I decided to modify them and do knee push-ups. If you've ever tried knee push-ups, they're honestly pretty difficult. I wouldn't say they're like a beginner push-up, but because I am doing 4 rounds of 30 push-ups, it's gonna be hard. And then going right into the 30 chest high kettlebell swings. Instead of going overhead, this time we're kind of, you're gonna engage your core to stop it once it gets to your chest. And last but not least, a very functional movement, a farmer's carry. Just like you're carrying all of your groceries in to your apartment because you don't wanna make more than one trip, let's be honest. Farmer carries are awesome. They're something that, again, I've been incorporating a lot. If I did 45 pounds each, I'm pretty sure I could go a lot heavier than that, but my gym at my apartment doesn't go heavier than 50 pounds each. So I decided to do 45, and that was really nice. This is honestly another full body workout. It's very simple. You just hold the dumbbells next to you and you do a fast walk, making sure that you're squeezing your glutes and kind of engaging your core so that you're not using your lower back. And I just walked all the way to the end of my gym and all the way back, taking about a 1 to 2 minute rest and then repeating that 4 times. So after this circuit, you would have done 120 air squats, 120 push-ups, 120 chest high kettlebell swings. It's pretty intense and you don't really think about it until afterwards, but being able to say like, hey, I did 120 push-ups and 120 air squats, like it's pretty dope. After that, I will do the same stretching that I did earlier as well as some foam rolling. This workout took me, with my stretching and my warm-ups and everything like that, it took about an hour and 15 minutes, I would say. I thought that that was really good. There's 3 days out of the week that I kind of train a little bit longer, and then the other days it's usually about 30 to 45 minutes. So my CrossFit days are definitely longer, but that's just personally something that works with me. I've made this fitness plan to correlate with my lifestyle and what I want to do in my personal goals, so you can of course do the same thing. I really want you guys to try out this workout and tell me how you feel about it. I would love for you guys to try it out. I really hope that this was helpful to you guys. Definitely let me know if you like me sharing my full workouts on here. I just feel like there's only so much that you can show on Instagram, and the issue with Instagram is that I have to kind of fit it into that small little rectangle. And with the type of workouts that I do, I'm usually just moving all over the place. I'm never like standing in one single spot, so it's kind of hard for me to get everything on there. But that is it for the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and then subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. Other than that, I will see you in my next video, and I hope you have a zenful day. Goodbye!